Welcome, acolytes. Today I'm reacting to Count Dankula 2 Electric Boogaloo. Basically, Fruit Company found label for founding paramilitary. So I don't know what this is about, but this is actually quite interesting. By the way, right now I didn't even get to eat, and either I do it while I eat and groom my freaking hair, or I do nothing. So I prefer to do it like this. So if there is some brush noises or eating noises in the background, well, it is what it is. Either this or nothing. So I guess for some of you it's better for nothing, but for most of you, nah. Let's take it, won't we? So let's just start what the count has to say. And by the way, if you like my content, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, press the notification button, and show me and Conduncula some love. For fuck's sake, this series is rebellious today. Good. Let's just start.
Banana Giant held liable for funding paramilitaries. Now, if you read up on three-letter agencies as much as I do, we knew. Like, we knew this was kind of a big deal, like back in the day. And then they do their usual thing where they wait for everyone who was involved to like retire or die, and then they come out with we found this. Oh, we're just going to declassify all this stuff.
Yeah, and by the way, this happens all the time. So I knew about this years ago. Like really a long time ago, but honestly it's not even a surprise for me. And yes, this is standard practice, by the way. You just go in and well, do shady stuff, and as soon as everybody's out that actually got into this stuff, that so nobody can get punished, well, then it's fine. Suddenly then you come out and be like, yeah, this and this happened and this. That's standard practice. So yeah, damn this face.
How terrible, how awful. But don't worry, even though the CIA did absolutely terrible things in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, they absolutely are not doing that now. I'm very certain that 10, 20 years from now, we're not going to get a bunch of stuff declassified about all the horrendous stuff that they're up to currently. I'm certain that's not going to happen.
Yes,
but anyway,
trust them.
A court in the United States has found multinational fruit company Chiquita Brands International liable for financing a Colombian paramilitary group. And it's the same company, it's the same Chiquita. Yeah. A lot of people don't realise that Chiquita got a bloody government overthrown and had people killed. Like, do you remember? I remember.
Yep.
The group, the United States.
Yeah, Chiquita was a freaking massacre. And they did actually, like, I'm gonna be honest, it was not particularly humanly, but for fuck's sake, how they did it was just masterful. Like, I'm gonna be honest, it's sometimes it's not even the respect you get for what they did, but how they did it. And it's not even our respect in a form of, yeah, I like those people, no, they are still scum, but hey, if you did something really good, you can learn from it, even if it's disgusting. And as I said in one of my videos, you can learn from wrong things. Even if somebody does something wrong, you can learn from that how not to do stuff or be a decent human being, or not a decent human being. Chiquita has been ordered to pay 38 million. I think they can afford it. This is like a Monday, I assume.
Of Defense Forces of Colombia, the AUC, was designated by the US as a terrorist organization at the time. Following a civil case brought about by 8 Colombian families whose relatives were killed by the AUC, Chiquita has been ordered to pay $38.3 million in damages to the families. Chiquita said in a statement that it intended to appeal against the jury's verdict, arguing that there was no legal basis for the claim. The CIA declassified everything. You did it. Like, you did it. There is evidence. The jury in the case, which was held in a federal court in South Florida, found Chiquita responsible for the wrongful deaths of 8 men killed by the AUC. The AUC engaged in widespread human rights abuses in Colombia, including murdering people it suspected of links with left-wing rebels. The victims ranged from trade unionists to banana workers. The case, because basically anyone that was actually going to like do a strike or anything, or if they tried to unionize or anything, Chiquita hired these gunmen to like kill the trade union leaders, or kill anyone that was trying to incite a strike. It was like a whole big thing. I probably should do a video on it, to be honest.
Yeah, he should. I agree with Count on here. And yes, as it said, yes, there was a thing. They killed a lot of innocent people, and yeah, just repeat what he said. Nothing to add to this.
The case was brought by the families after Chiquita pleaded guilty in 2007 to making payments to the AUC. During the 2007 trial, it was revealed that Chiquita had made payments amounting to more than 1.7 million to the AUC in the 6 years from 1997 to 2004.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, not surprising. Interesting.
The banana giant said that it began making the payments after the leader of the AUC at the time, Carlos Castaño, implied that staff and property belonging to Chiquita's subsidiary in Colombia could be harmed if the money was not forthcoming. So it was protection money, I see. Lawyers for Chiquita argued that the company had no choice but to pay the AUC to protect its Colombian employees from violence. But the plaintiffs, or plantains, argued that the company formed an unholy alliance with the AUC at a time when Chiquita was expanding its presence in regions controlled by the AUC. The regular payments continued even after the AUC.
I mean, if you side with the winning side, you can expand your little claws around everything, so you know.
AUC was designated by the US as a foreign terrorist organization in 2001. While the AUC claimed to have been created to defend landowners from attacks and extortion attempts by left-wing rebels, the paramilitary group often acted as a death squad for drug traffickers. At its height, it had an estimated 30,000 members who engaged in intimidation, drug trafficking, extortion, forced displacements, and killings. It also launched brutal attacks on villages.
I mean, that's a lot of people that got actually harmed by this, ain't it? It's quite honestly something that you should think about what they did. What they did just with the simple amount of power they have. This is incredible in my opinion. This is disgustingly incredible, if this makes any sense.
Villagers they suspected of supporting left-wing rebels. The group demobilized in 2006 after reaching a peace deal with the government, but some of its members went on to form new splinter groups which continue to be active. The class action lawsuit against Chiquita, which ended on Monday, focused on 9 cases, which were chosen out of hundreds of claims against the banana company. The jury found that the AUC was responsible for 8 of the 9 murders examined as part of the lawsuit. The jury also ruled that Chiquita had knowingly provided substantial assistance to the AUC to a degree sufficient to create a foreseeable risk of harm. Chiquita said in a statement released after the verdict that the situation in Colombia was tragic for so many, including those directly affected by the violence there, and
no shit, Sherlock. Damn. Like, those freaking words. I know Duncan didn't say it, so I know it's in the article, but obviously.
Our thoughts remain with them and their families. However, that does not change our belief that there is no legal basis for these claims added. The company said it remained confident that its legal position would ultimately prevail. Agnieszka Friesman, hate these names, one of the leading lawyers for the plaintiffs, meanwhile praised the families she represented, saying that they had...
Count, for fuck's sake. Agnieszka Frischman. Frischman, okay. That's Agnieszka is basically a Slavic name, so that's why I personally can say it out like that. But Frischman, that sounds like a Germanated Polish name. Yes, those names exist even in Poland. It's basically a name that's somehow connected to a German, like not directly family, but they lived in the part in Poland that got occupied by the Germans, and they more often than not got Polish or German names or Polish names that sound German. So yeah,
had risked their lives to come forward to hold Chiquita to account because they were just popping people off that were causing problems. Like, this stuff's been declassified, right? Fruit companies, like what country was it? I forget the nation, but basically a government in South America literally got toppled because of a fruit company. I forget the name of the incident, but look it up. said they'd risk their lives to come forward to hold Chiquita to account, putting their faith in the United States justice system. She added that the verdict does not bring back the husbands and sons who were killed, but it sets the record straight and places accountability for funding terrorism where it belongs, at Chiquita's doorstep. Another lawyer for the Colombian families, Leslie Kroger, said that after a long 17 years against a well-funded defence, justice was finally served. A second case against Chiquita is brought by another group of plaintiffs is due to start on the 15th of July. Now, one thing that the CIA and all the other, mostly the CIA, they did the lion's
The F happened there.
share of it, but like, they were just, the three-letter agencies were just always dicking with South American countries, all the time. And I feel bad because I forget the name of the nation. Was it Bolivia? I don't know if it was Bolivia. Don't quote me on that. But basically, a communist took over and said, we're going to seize the land back and give it back to the people. Now, fruit companies own a lot of land because obviously they need to grow the fruit trees that they use to then sell on to people and ship all over the world. And because their land was going to get taken from them, they said, hey, US government, please, can we have a little bit of help? And the CIA pure went... Because if there's one thing the CIA loves, it's an excuse, right? So they basically funded the guy's opposition, provided weapons, provided money, provided funding, provided propaganda, provided support, all manners of stuff to the communist opposition because it was a good way to protect a vetted American interest and get a pesky little communist out of power. So what ended up happening was a civil war in which very, very, very many people died. Like, woo! Yeah, it was pretty bad. And essentially the leftist government got toppled, the CIA then installed their guy, and the fruit company got to keep its land. This was a whole documented thing that ended up coming out like years later after the fact. And I mean, at the time, like, people knew. People were kind of like, I mean, it was obvious because America just spent its 60s, 70s, and 80s. America was just decking with South America constantly. They were never out of there. Like, see all the stuff like...
Yep. There are the grabbers everywhere. It was actually quite surprising how America actually went everywhere, and after all of that, they were like, nope, we didn't do anything. We are innocent in this. No, you did. And I don't care, because it's a political play. Oh, sorry. As everybody would. I just say this, if Germany could do it, they would have done the exact same thing, so I'm not even mad about this. But it's, truthfully, yeah, they mixed in. They made manipulation, pure manipulation.
Like, you remember Ollie North and all that, you know, he was funding the Contras and shit like that. Like, they see a lot of the fucking, like, drug dealers and all that shit and all the cartels, like, the CIA was the one providing them with guns. And all that. Why do you think there's so many like American guns like in South America? And they're all over the place. There's shit tons of them. Because it was the CIA that was doing it. The CIA was also working directly with cartels to orchestrate the crack epidemic. The CIA was also working directly with fucking the Italian mafia and shit like that. There was all manners of stuff that they've done. But don't worry everyone. They absolutely don't do it anymore.
Of course, they don't do it anymore. No, we love our government, don't we? No, by the way, I really think that the system that we have now is actually quite good. It's the best we have over a lot longer time. Like, over the entire lifespan of humanity, this is the best system we have right now. But it gets so easily corrupt and goes in a way where we just get in a shithole. It's just bad. But as it is, good night.